mejor recuerdo de Paul McCartney en México. Paul is live. Siempre tu música, siempre Coca-Cola.
Why after 1966 you stopped touring with the Beatles? That's a question that's been in my mind all the time.
You know what? We'd had enough. We'd been touring since we were like about 17 or 18 years old. And we'd done very well, but we'd worked really hard. We'd worked long, and we'd been to America, and we were on, I think, our second or third tour of America. And it just got boring. It was getting very difficult to hear ourselves, because the audiences were getting wilder and wilder, and we couldn't really hear ourselves as musicians. And even though it was good fun, we all started to think we should be doing something, you know, we should be doing something musically. And we wanted to spend a lot of time recording. And there was a gig we played in America where it rained, and we were under some little kind of umbrella kind of things, and the water was going in the amplifiers, and we were all thinking we're going to get electrocuted the next minute, and it was like, this is getting very boring, you know, and we got fed up with it. So in the back of the van that took us away from that gig, we all kind of said, let's stop touring. We didn't tell anyone for a while. We decided, well, we didn't need to really tell anyone. And we just stopped touring, and we went into the studio and started making Sgt. Pepper, which we needed a lot of time for, you know.
Could it have been possible to take on the road albums like Sgt. Pepper or the White Album at that time?
Yeah, we could have done it, but as I say, we were kind of fed up of touring by then and more interested in making films and recording. You know, when you start out, touring's great. If you start out as a band, just to get one gig is great. But by the time you reach the level we've reached, it got boring. Now I enjoy it because I don't work as hard now. I will do a tour, maybe like this whole year I've been touring. But we still have 5 weeks off here and there, and we still have some time off. With the Beatles, we were working nearly every day. Yeah, I think it would have been possible to take those albums on tour. It would have needed a few tapes and a few sound effects, I think.
And Paul, could you describe the different stages of your career in which you have performed live? Let's say, how was it with the Beatles, how was it with Wings, and how was it with your two world tours on your...
Well, before the Beatles, you've got to remember, going right back, there was a group called the Quarrymen, and that was a group that John was in, and they asked me to join that group. So that was great, and that was full of wonder. You know, you were just coming into show business. It hadn't entered our minds that we would do it for a living. It was just to earn a little bit extra money, and I was still going to school, you know. So that was good. Then the Beatles was great, because we started to go from a little group to a bigger group to a bigger group to a bigger, and then to finally really, you know, the world's biggest at that time. And it was really good because we were learning all the time, and it was like a staircase. You know, we'd do clubs, then we'd do ballrooms, then we'd start to go outside Liverpool and we'd do televisions, then we'd go to other countries. Wow, that was great, because we were young guys, you know, nobody had ever traveled. We got to go to all the countries in Europe, and we finally got to go to America. Got to go to places like Japan and stuff. So that was great. That was very exciting and crazy, crazy times, you know, because from being little kids, we suddenly were very famous men. And the money was good. So, you know, that was very exciting. Because none of us had ever been rich. We'd never seen money. In my family, we didn't have a TV, we didn't have a car. So, you know, we weren't rich. So to be able to buy my own car, wow, this was it, you know. I used to get stopped by the police because I looked too young to have a car, you know. Is this your car? Sure, check it out, buddy. It was great, you know, whoa. I felt good. So that was a great time. Then unfortunately the Beatles broke up, I think because we'd really come full circle. Everyone felt we'd done about all we could do, and which had taken about 10 years to do the whole thing. We didn't really feel we could get any higher or get any further. We'd conquered every country. So, and we'd made some real good records and stuff, and everyone by this time, I think, you know, there was beginning to be some business trouble in there. It always happens with anyone. Wherever there's money, there's business trouble. So we got a lot of that. So that broke up, and then I decided that if I wanted to carry on, I would have to form another group, and that it wouldn't be easy, because trying to follow the Beatles was like a really hard thing to do, you know. But I did it, and I formed a group called Wings. I asked Linda, who I just married, if she wanted to be in it with me. The critics gave her a hard time, because they said, well, why her? You know, I said, well, I like her. You know, why John? Why Ringo? In the beginning, in the Beatles, you know, we weren't great musicians. We just liked each other. We just had a good thing. I said, she doesn't have to be a world-class musician. You know, I like her. She's good on stage. She sings good, and we sing harmonies together. So she joined the group, and we started with Wings. And gradually started climbing the staircase again. And we had a lot of success with Wings then, over the years. Then that broke up. And then I didn't tour for quite a while, because I thought I'd had enough of it for then. It's always good to get a rest, just to get some space in your brain, you know, otherwise it's just crammed full of nonsense. So got away for a while, and then I wanted to work again, so I put this band together. From some friends working on albums and studio guys, and we really enjoyed playing together. We enjoyed jamming together, and we enjoyed just being together. There's quite a good sense of humor in this group. It's not a very heavy group. The vibes are pretty good, you know, they're nice people, and so they're good to be around. So we enjoyed it, and now we've kind of climbed the ladder again with this group. You know, it's like my third time around, really. And now what's nice is, because there's so much time since the Beatles breakup, we're well into doing Beatles songs again. Of course, the audiences like them, because they're very famous songs, and many memories for the older people. And for the younger people, they've been checking out the albums. A lot of younger people check out the 60s. You know, the fashions come around again, and a lot of 60s kind of fashions are in now, in the surfing thing. And there's a lot of it about, you know, and a lot of the same way we used to think, you know, like peace is back. I mean, not everywhere, but the idea is back, you know, and taking care of each other, taking care of the planet. That idea is back. It better had be, or else, you know, everyone's finished, kind of thing. So there's a lot of similar type things. So it's a good time now to be playing. And so we mix our new stuff with our middle wing stuff, with some old Beatles stuff, and we just enjoy playing. I mean, I just like playing guitar. With this band, I get a chance to play guitar, electric and acoustic guitars, piano and bass, and sing a lot. So I'm happy, you know, I enjoy it, and it's good training. You know, like if you're an Olympic athlete and you're going for the Olympics, and if you're a runner, you want to run most days, have a couple of days off, then run. Keeps you fit, you know. But it's the same with singing. If you don't sing for a long time, your voice is still good, but then if you come to do 2 hours, it gets quite hoarse. So this is good, you know, because I'm always kind of ready to do a show now.
I was very surprised when the Mexican audience recognized perfectly that song of yours, of Hope of Deliverance, from the brand new album, of the Ground. What did you feel? You
know, somebody in Japan, it was somebody from South America, said, oh, you know, in your new album you embrace sort of South American music. And I said, which track? They said, oh, Hope of Deliverance. And I hadn't realized, I think it's got a little bit of a sort of, you know, it's very guitar-y, it's very acoustic, and this ding 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 ding, it's kind of slightly South American anyway, and the little guitar solo is very sort of Spanish, you know, the two little acoustics, and so I think that's maybe one of the reasons. It's a kind of, it's a little bit of a Latin American sound, a bit, and the other thing is it was amazingly well received in Germany. Of course, because there's been a video of it, and it's been a bit of a hit here and there, you know. But in Germany, it was a massive hit. And I think a lot of young people liked it because it's hopeful. You know, it says some things that I think some of them think. You know, if you're trying to go out, if a girl's trying to go out with a particular boy, or if they've broken up, then they want some hope for the future. They want some hope of deliverance from that problem. Or if someone's got some trouble in their family, we all know about trouble, so there's always a hope of deliverance. And some people see it as a kind of religious thing, you know, just hope from every bit of trouble, you know, fix it up. So I think it's a message, an international message, with a Latin American flavor. So I was surprised to see that too. But I always like it when people understand our new stuff, because I don't really just want to do Beatles stuff. I love the Beatles stuff, but I think that if I just do Beatles stuff, it becomes a little bit like an old package. It's like a 60s rock and roll package. You know, I prefer to have some new stuff around. So we got Come On People, Off the Ground, Hope of Deliverance, Peace in the Neighborhood. We do those songs here. And it's nice to see the younger people liking them. I think the younger people know some of those better than the old songs, because they weren't there for the Beatles. So these are their songs. These are their modern songs.
What's the story behind the Hofner bass, which is one of the most representative instruments of your career?
Yeah, I was wondering, you know, we've become, like I was saying, very big in Germany, and I was wondering, I thought, one of the reasons, it's a German instrument. I must be one of the only guys in the world plays a German instrument. You know, everybody else is either a Spanish guitar or an American guitar or even a Japanese guitar. But the original story was we were working in Hamburg with the Beatles, and we weren't getting paid much. We were being paid £15 a week. So I don't know what that was. Quite a lot for then, but it wasn't an awful lot. It was good money. But I couldn't really afford a Fender, which is what I wanted. That's the best kind of. I think that's the best bass, a Fender Precision or jazz bass. I couldn't afford it. They were really expensive. So I went into Hamburg on a shopping trip. Went into the city centre from the club where we played, and I was just looking around for clothes and things. And I saw this guitar. It was like a violin, and because I'm left-handed, anything I played that's normal always looks upside down, because all the knobs are all the scratch plates always the wrong way up, you know. The cutaway is always the wrong way, and there's no point having a cutaway there, you know, it doesn't work. So I just felt a bit stupid with these other guitars. Then I saw this and I thought, wow, I like the shape. It was a really original shape. And I thought this would be great because it won't look so strange when I play it this way. It's normally supposed to be that way. The plugs are, the knobs are upside down, but it didn't look strange, you know. So that was the reason. It wasn't always in tune. That's its biggest problem. But I've actually just done some work on this tour. We took it to a guy in New York, and it's like a bell now. It's right in tune now. We've had some real precision, modern work done on it. Because in those days, people weren't so precise. Now, of course, you've got guitar technicians, and it's a big job. It's not just like roadie anymore. It's a big, serious job. These guys have got instruments, and so this guy's got it in tune. But that was the original story, was that it was just cheap and cheerful, and it looked good when I turned it round.
And how about the Mexican audience? I mean, you've been in front of thousands of audience through all your career.
The Mexican audience is great. Fabuloso. Oh, they're just great. I mean, whenever we go to Spain or Italy or south of France, places like that, we always have a good time. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I always feel very at home in Latin places. You know, when I was at school, when I was 11, cuando yo 11 años, I learned a little poco español en la escuela, and I liked it a lot. I really liked the language, you know, and I passed a little exam in it, and I used to talk to the sailors who'd come from Spain, because Liverpool's a port, and I would always talk to them, and they'd go, non rapidamente. And I'd try and learn it, you know, so I love Spanish, I love guitars, and so whenever we go to Spain, we have a great time with the Latin people. As I say, I feel something in common. Maybe in a past life I was Latin American. I don't know, you know, I don't know what it is, but I must have some blood in me that's because we always have a great time, and the audiences are great. But I must say, this has got to rank amongst the best. I mean, we've had some good audiences, but that the other night, I just looked at the crew, you know, and they're normally just getting on with their work, and they're all smiling. You know. That was a great audience. And we play better with that kind of an audience, you know. If some audiences, I think one of the things is that there's something to do with the heat. Because we go to places in Scandinavia, and the more north you get, the colder the audience gets. There's nothing wrong with it. It just means we have to work a bit harder. But they sort of, you know, we go, oh, okay. We've got to work. We have to work hard. But these places, and and we're ready, you know. So that was a beautiful audience. I've never seen anyone do the cigarette lighters in time like that. I mean, this is new for us. It was insane. What do they put? It must be something in the water.
Yes. Sorry, this will be my last question. And about the environmental things, if you could explain why are you doing this, just to let the people know, and if you called Richard Lester also to direct the opening video for the...
Richard Lester didn't do this one. He did the first one that we did on the other tour, which was kind of anti-war. The person who did this is a guy called Kevin Godley, who used to be in 10cc, makes a lot of videos for people like U2. He did the Zoo TV thing for them. And he's a good friend, he's a neighbor where we live, so he did this one. This is more animal rights. The reason we did it is that at the end of a tour, if it's gone well, you feel great. You're tired, but you feel great. You think, oh, we went to all those countries, we saw all those fans, we played our music, we made a lot of money, that was successful, you feel good, and we had fun. But on these tours, you know, I started to think it'd be nice if we could leave people with all of that, but also a little bit of something to think about, particularly the younger people, because they're going to grow up in this world. They've got to vote. So I like to give them something to think about. And a friend said to me, well, you know, when you go to a concert or you get somebody's record, if I buy a Neil Young record, I'm not a fan of Neil Young, if I buy his record, I like to see what he's thinking this year. I like to clue in with him, you know, so I like to read the liner notes, or liner notes, it's little now. I like to sort of know what he thinks, you know, I like to see where he's up to now, as well as listen to his music. So that's what we decided to do, was make a film, because in a lot of these places we don't have a support act. So just to give a good show, we do the film. And on this one, it just asks people the question, you know, are you cruel to animals? And Linda and I are very keen on people respecting animals' rights. It's something that a lot of people don't think about, because our traditions don't really bother with animals. But we've had some really good results. And we have a lot of young people saying, wow, I never thought about that, you know? There's a lot of stuff in the way we live that you just don't think about. Nobody's got time to think about it. I mean, you know, it's a long story. We need a 3-hour TV program to do this, but basically the idea is that this is how we feel at the moment, and so we put it in the film. People don't have to agree with it, but they go home and they talk about it. They say, hey, what was that thing in the film? What was that all about? And they sit up late, they talk about it, and it may just make one person in 10 do something with their life. They may say, you know, I'm going to be in animal rights, or I'm going to get concerned about ecology. And I think, you know, if we can plant that seed, just one person in each country or each city, then at the end of the tour, instead of just feeling good, we also feel like we've really done something. We feel like we've put an important message out. So that's it, really. You know, each time we go out now, there's always some kind of message. You can ignore it if you want. You can just come and party, because the show's a party. But there's a little message underneath it all. It's like, peace, come on, people, hope of deliverance, let's get it right, you know. And I think a lot of people share that. A lot of people in their hearts want that. And I also feel that a responsibility. I feel that if I'm going to get on a TV camera, I could just waste everyone's time going, talk a load of nonsense, go home, and everyone would think, well, that was okay. But I like to take this time, you know, to say, you know, think about ecology, think about animals, it's a good thought, think about peace, grow up, tell your own children, and we may have a great world one of these days, you know, it's possible.